you cannot address everything spiritually. You cannot go to a school where a child has not prepared well, and you are declaring they'll pass with A's, and they have never gotten these A's even from Form 1. So, even most pastors struggle if they don't have the grace of healing and deliverance. They feel like they are not fully born again. But you will not speak in tongues and money comes here. If you make your congregation understand that death is not their portion, when it happens, they grieve more.
Yes.
If you make it people to believe that people die at a particular age, when people of lower age dies, passes on, it gives you a hard time.
Welcome to the Step Out Summit, where we dive into the depths of struggle and scale the heights of triumph. Meet your everyday heroes who are stepping out, standing tall, and making an impact. I'm your host, Ochola, and today we have an inspiring guest whose story will challenge you to think bigger, dream bolder, and take action towards your own success. At the SOS, we make it happen.
They call me Arnold Collier, and today I have a guest on the show who is going to share a little bit about himself and also about what he does.
My name is Venerable Noel Simon Ochola. By the grace of God, I'm an ordained priest with the Anglican Church of Kenya, Nambale Diocese. And currently I serve as the Archdeacon of Sigalame Archdeaconry and the Vicar of Sigalame Parish. I also serve as the head of missions at ACK Nambale Diocese. I'm a married family man, and I bless God for the grace to minister in His vineyard. So by age, I don't number a number of years, but for the last 10 years or over a decade ago, I believe that God has been working through and in me to be whom I am today. Before being a priest, I will mention that I am a trained public health officer. I hold a bachelor's degree in public health of Jomo Kenyatta University, and it was during my campus ministry and commitment to serve the Lord that I had with a lot of clarity the passion and need to answer to the call for the ordained ministry. And so after the undergraduate at Jomo Kenyatta, then I did my compulsory one-year internship at Busia District Hospital, after which then I presented myself before the elders of the church and asked for their permission to go to serve, to go for theological training and ministerial formation. So then with the approval and the approval of God, I proceeded to Uganda Christian University, where I undertook a theology program, and currently I hold a master's degree in theology of Uganda Christian University. In between, I've been serving in the UNDP, a program of COVID that just ended, and it wasn't renewed. I've been volunteering in the county, in the health sector, and in the Anglican Church, where I've invested a lot of my time to serve as a youth coach, as a youth leader for a number of years. I served and I still serve as a head of missions, where we go out to evangelize, to reach out to souls, and to develop policies and strategies that can realize a healthy church and a holistic church. And so I got ordained in 2019, deaconate, then in 2020 priesthood, and I've served now. This is my 5th year.
Many people believe that for leaders in the church do not have something else to do. But for you have a professional background, a trained person who has gone to university and he has finished, recognized by the government of the day.
I'm licensed.
You are licensed.
Yes.
And yet you still came into ministry. Why so?
Yeah, ministry, for quite some time people thought ministry is for people who have lost hope in life. people who have tried academic field and they have failed, and so they come to church as a last resort.
Yes.
But you realize that is not the case. There are some writers who have written and said that the pulpit, the pew are more enlightened than the pulpit.
Yes, yes.
To mean the congregation is more enlightened than the people ministering at the pulpit.
Yeah.
And that is suicidal to a church that believes in such statement, because the people who are giving guidance and leadership to the church ought to be more informed in matters of the church and even current issues affecting humanity than the people who are being led.
Yeah.
And if that be the case, then the church stands in a better place. So I believe, and I know that there are very many clergies currently who have opted to be tent makers, and that currently, even in these days of Nambale, we have very many undergraduates from education, health, business, who are coming to join priesthood. Currently, there doesn't even have lawyers now who are clergy. We have university lecturers who are clergy. We have principals and deputies, teachers who are clergy. And to me, I believe that that is the better step the church is now getting into the right direction. Yes.
There's also a need for having the clergy being informed.
Yes.
So that they can help with
address the issues affecting the community. You address from a factual point.
Yeah.
The truth is, you cannot address everything spiritually.
Yeah.
So to say, not every challenge that a human being goes through is supposed to be addressed spiritually or by prayer.
Yeah.
There are things like, for example, when you are sick, as much as we pray for you, you need to undergo a proper diagnosis and receive proper medication. And that is not with a pastor. That is with a trained medical personnel.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So, can you just expound a little bit on why you say that we have even people in the business sectors who have professional background in the business sectors, in law, coming to church. What is the importance, or what are some of the benefits of having such people into priesthood?
Before I answer, I'll take you back to the coming of Jesus Christ, and you look at the composition of the 12 disciples, then you realize that among the 12, the core inner circle of Jesus Christ, they were professionals. And even people who spearheaded the gospel, even after, slightly before and after the death of Christ, a number of them were professionals. And the book of Luke and Acts is sponsored by a man called Theophilus. And this man was a renowned philanthropist. Was a man who was respected in the community. And Matthew had written the gospel but didn't seem to answer some questions about Christ. Mark had written the gospel but didn't seem to address everything conclusively. Then the opening of the book of Acts will tell you that this man Theophilus committed Luke to do a critical analysis and give a critical account to the person of Jesus Christ. And Luke, who was being asked to do a critical analysis of that gospel and the book of Acts, was a doctor. Was not just somebody from the road, but is somebody who had studied the law. You look at Paul. Paul, in our today's language, will refer to him as a professor. He was a studied philosopher.
Yeah.
And so the urge, when I see professionals coming to the ordained ministry to serve as pastors, to the holy orders, then one, I say it is the God who is calling them. They're answering to the call of God to be ministers. And number two, I will say the church needs such mind to develop the nation and the community to a place God will want it to be.
Okay.
And so every time you'll see, even when the government has challenges, they'll run to the church. and say, oh, bishops, pastors, help us reconcile these individuals. Help us reconcile this team. Help us offer leadership over this issue. Help us give guidance. Now, if these bishops are not well informed, well versed in the matters of the land, well versed in the matters of the law and science and research, spiritual solutions alone will not make the nation be at a place where God will want it to be.
Very true.
And every field as it is God ordained. Even those who are serving in law are doing God ordained work. Even those who are serving in security are doing God ordained work. So if they double up to hold the Bible and preach, then it's even more important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's an important question that comes up. You've talked about finishing college, and after finishing everything, you then went back to school to go and study and to build your capacity into priesthood.
Yes.
Why can somebody, a normal person like me, would believe that anybody would just take up the Bible and, start reading it out to people and quoting out verses and, be a preacher? Why did you find it fit for you to go back to school and study?
Initially, I thought so, that you'll just wake up and preach and lead the church and lead the people, and things will be okay. However, I'll emphatically tell you that is a lie. That is a lie.
A lie.
And again,
a total lie.
I'll refer you again to the beginning of time. In the dispensation of Christ. When he came, he chose for himself 12 men who sat under him for 3.5 years. 3 good years at the feet of Christ. Learning from Christ. Studying from him alone. Then when Christ died, would they carry on the mandate of the church, of the vision and mission of Christ? Now, what makes you think you'll wake up from your house and go and fulfill that vision until you have studied, until you have been informed? And the same model is used in, it comes out in, it will be 1 Corinthians 10 or 14, when Paul is talking about the mission statement. How will these people know when they have not been told? How will they go, I'm trying to paraphrase, when they have not been sent? And how will they even answer to the call of being sent when they don't have the information to give? So the beginning of things is training. Before Christ, even before Christ, before God sent out anyone for any greater mission, Christ chose people who had been trained. Look at the mission God gave Moses. But when you read the Bible, you realize Moses underwent training for 40 good years. I mean, not 40, 80 good years. 40 in the palace, 40 in the wilderness.
Very true.
Before then he will be sent to go and deliver. So training is very key in accomplishing any mission. And that's why church ministers, yes, you first of all receive the call. But in the spirit of answering the call, make training be part of what you want to be. So that the theological training helps you to handle the word rightly. Helps you to understand the human mind, what we call anthropology. You understand the people's behavior. Theological training helps you to communicate. Not only to communicate the gospel, but also the vision that you have for the church. But also the vision the government has for the people and her people. Theological training helps you to build up enough shock absorbers to deal with the heat that comes with managing
Okay.
the house of Christ. So beyond handling the word, which people will say, yeah, the Holy Spirit
So
can teach me.
It's not just about speaking. It's not just about teaching.
It's not just about teaching, because when you come that you want to lead the church,
Yeah.
you know, there's a difference between leading the church and leading a fellowship.
Okay.
You know, fellowship, people come from their churches, they meet for some Bible study fellowship,
Yeah.
or for widows fellowship, or youth fellowship, and they just go.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, they have their roots,
Okay.
where they go for worship. So managing the church, church has pillars. Like there is the first pillar, which is why we meet, is mission.
Yes.
To answer to the mission of Christ. Going into the world. And that going has to be appropriated, has to be contextualized. Now that is, you are now moving, you're not moving, but you are adding your mind, your intellect into that thing to make it work in the context where you are.
Yeah.
And that is only developed in academia.
Yeah.
Then there is aspect of finance. You could be spirit-filled, but you will not speak in tongues, and money comes here. You have to know how to resource mobilize.
Yes.
These are things you get now from school. These are skills you acquire
Okay.
through the world of academia. Resource mobilization. There are issues of conflicts, resolution.
Yes.
Church exists in the community.
Yes.
These communities have challenges. You will get women coming from a polygamist family who cannot sit together, who cannot greet each other.
Yeah.
You will find people who are saying, so and so killed my father.
Yes.
I'm not going to that church where so and so is going. So you have to be up to speed with the reconciliation, which is also a ministry of Christ.
Yeah.
With teamwork.
Yeah.
For this church to work, people must coexist as a team. So these are skills I'm saying you develop. They are not arts that you will maybe be inborn or whatever, but you need to develop them. You need to acquire them.
Okay.
And you acquire them in a classroom setting. So beyond the Bible, actually I'll tell you, for my years in theological training, if there are times we took time to read the Bible in class, they are counted times.
Yeah.
But you're being hammered with philosophy.
Yeah.
You're being hammered with behavioral science. You're being hammered with Greek and Hebrew and whatever.
Yeah.
You're being hammered with the issues of philosophy and how you understand how things work. Research and whatever.
Yeah.
As a pastor, you must have a research mind. Because it's only through research that you answer to the problems facing your people.
Okay. Speaking of challenges within the community, can you give us an example of an instance where you had to solve a very hard challenge in line of your ministry?
Yeah, you want to go specific,
Yeah.
because the people I was dealing with might think now pastor is going to share us out.
It's okay.
But the most challenges that affect members of the community centers on areas of land. I remember in one instance burying a Christian who had died from a town, and even the corpse could not find an access to the house because of land issue. And you know, these are brothers who are neighboring each other.
Yeah.
But because they have not agreed to open up a road that can give everyone access to their gate,
Yeah.
Marehemu could not find themselves to their house. And we had to do a lot of intervention. And at the end of the day, just a good neighbor who had bought land there now opted to open up just
To allow you.
for people to just carry the coffin on hand. The vehicles were to remain there and pass through some maize plantation to access the house of the deceased.
Wow.
And after that, there had to be a lot of, in fact, the whole burial session was a counseling session.
Yeah.
Was a reconciliation session.
That is
And it
hard.
took quite a longer time before we could bury. And that's why I'm saying now, such like situations needs an interaction of very many things.
Yes.
You need to be a team player, that you're bringing on a sub-chief, a chief, area elders, other people, stakeholders that can do this. You need to understand psychology of people. cultural issues
Yes,
around
yes.
such things.
Yeah.
And it needs now, beyond the calling, to develop an art and a skill.
Wow.
That when you stand there, then people will see, aha, when this pastor comes here, therein there's our solution. Yeah.
Wow. And now, in light of that, I know many people, when people face challenges in life, their last resort is usually spiritual guidance. They believe that the priest has all the answers. How do you get to handle such like cases, especially in the death of a loved one? You know, when somebody loses a kid, an infant, you know, and many people don't have explanations to this, and they come to you and they say, you as the priest, you have to explain this to us. You know, you have to be the consoling voice. How do you do that?
Areas of laws, particularly laws of life, they are not appetizing area. And normally, people will not just easily accept.
Yeah, and
It's not just an infant.
Yeah.
Even if somebody lost a mother
Yes,
of 120 years,
Yeah.
death is painful.
Yeah.
However, it pains more. Last year, I buried a friend's son, and after the burial, I saw him write on the status that a small coffin is more painful than a big coffin.
Yeah.
And so that speaks into the stress, the traumatizing moment people go through when they lose infants, when they have stillbirth.
Yeah.
Actually, stillbirth is one of the most traumatizing encounters you don't want to go through.
Yes, yes.
And as you said, that's where now the pastor and the church comes in to give hope.
Yeah. And the reason I'm asking that is because you see, many people are attracted to the glamour that comes with priesthood. They see the celebrations, they see the weddings, they see the, you know, but they don't see this other side that you have to deal with.
They don't understand that for most Christians, their ministry ends with the fellowship at church.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
But you see, as servants of God, we are on duty almost 24/7. Somebody will call you at midnight. Pastor, I'm just going to the labor room. Please pray with me. 3 a.m. Oh, my father has just passed. You know, maybe he was alone at the hospital with him. If that hospital is near, I'll tell you, I'll drive there so that when he's crying, you are offering solution. Where do we keep the body? How do we transfer? What do we do what? Even there, the doctors have finished their work. If that hospital has a chaplain, that's now where they come in.
Yeah.
People, when they lose their children, their loved one, and they are not there, mostly the family members who are there will call you and tell you, tumepoteza so and so, and the wife was not there. Kindly be the one to break the news to that person.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
The children whose parents die when they are in school, boarding schools, they are called from schools when they don't know what is happening at home. But before their arrival, the family calls you and they tell you, the boy is coming from such and such a school, doesn't know the father passed on. Please come, receive him to break the news for him.
Wow.
And it is never a good time. Now, what I'll say in a nutshell in that area is that's now where two things come at play. God has to give you a spirit of discernment, and God has to give you the spirit of knowledge and wisdom, so that a single utterances that you make comforts and salvages the situation.
Yeah.
But before things happen, as pastors, it is good to give people good hope. If you make your congregation understand that death is not their portion, when it happens, they grieve more.
Yes.
If you
Equation.
make it people to believe that people die at a particular age, when people of lower age dies, passes on, it gives you a hard time.
Yeah.
So before things happen, you need to let people understand the way of life through your pulpit teachings. Let them understand the word of God from a factual point, not from an eisegesis point. Then when it happens, you can build on what you have been teaching already.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a wonderful message for me. Almost turning into a sermon. Okay, now before we go into that, I also you talked about the importance of having priests who are professionals in different areas. Now, I want to ask, what is the role of the church in the community? Because you talked about we have different challenges, and especially the main challenge that we focus on this platform is the issue of youth unemployment. What is the role of the church in trying to solve that?
Okay. Before I move on, let me also mention that, as I had mentioned in my introduction, that I've been working with the youth for a long time, youth movement.
Yes.
And currently I'm the chaplain of Bumbe Technical College from the beginning of this year. And also that just powers into, helps me to fulfill my mission as a young person. So I'll say that a church, our place in the community, I'll anchor it into 3 or 4 pillars. Number one, it is the role of the church to ensure that the right knowledge is taught both at home and in school. And in school, we do it through influencing policies and advocacy.
Okay.
And so that's when you go back to the coming of the church in Africa, or what we'll say the coming of missionaries.
Yes.
They came and established a church, but along any mission center, there is a school.
Yes. Yeah.
Galame, where we are here, is a mission center.
Yes.
And there is a school.
Yeah.
The famous Galame boys is just here. These are the teachers' quote.
Yes.
When you move down, you find a mission center for Catholics. You'll find Nagina girls. You move down a bit, you'll find a mission center, Nambavoto. There is a school.
Yeah.
Nambavoto boys and girls, and a number of schools there. Same to here, Nangina. And the trend is as you go up to wherever you want to go, where the mission centers, it's characterized by a school, a hospital, and farming, and church. Those are 4 pillars I'm talking about.
Yes.
So one is our role as a church to ensure good knowledge is imparted. And knowledge is through 1, families, our homes, 2, schools, and 3, churches. Number 2 is the role of the church to empower her members to have food security. The first person who brought kitchen gardening was not the government, was the church. And it is in the church where you tell people, after you have listened to this for the sermon, you go back home Monday to Saturday and ensure you are into your farm. Once the families have food security, it speaks into their body. That guarantees you of a healthy community.
Yeah.
The first medicine to a number of diseases is food. And good food, or let's say proper diet. And so the church has a role to the health of people. And this is physical health, and not just spiritual health. But spiritual, physical health.
Yeah.
And lastly, the church has a role in socialization. How do we relate with God and actually first intra, my relationship with myself, is it good?
Yeah.
Then relationship with the people around me, the family, the community, the nation, the government. And that relationship should make me to be a sound person.
Yeah.
And finally, relationship with the environment. So these are the areas the church champions. Do we have good environment? When you're talking of soil degradation, when you're talking of climate change, as Anglican Church, we are championing Green Anglican movement.
Yeah.
And we are saying that before any function, before I preside over a burial, a wedding, a church service, a meeting, as a vicar, I lead that congregation in planting a tree.
Okay.
And you can see a number of trees in this compound.
Yes, I can see.
These are trees that majorly are built planted during functions.
Yeah.
When the bishop is coming, before service, we do a tree.
Yeah.
When we have a commissioning of youth meeting, they have to plant a tree. And if we do it everywhere, when you are celebrating your birthday at home, apart from cutting the cake, plant a tree.
Yeah.
And will help the environment to be a good place for posterity, for us and our children and generations to come.
Yeah.
So those are basically 4 things the church lives in. Right knowledge in mind, people should have Christ in their heart, people should have food on their table, and people should have money in their pocket, and people should have proper relationship.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, speaking about that, what are some of the initiatives does the church, especially the Anglican Church, engage in that can help our young people to address, these common issues? You've talked about unemployment, you've talked about these other challenges within the community. What are some of the initiatives that the church is engaging in?
I'll begin with the very basic ones. We help our youths to find job opportunities. How? Whenever there is any job advertised somewhere, we circulate in our church groups, we circulate in our church notices so that they could know.
Yeah.
Number 2, or rather an addendum to that is, whenever the church has opportunity to employ, we ensure that there are slots for the youths and there's a slot for vulnerable community, like people with disability.
Yeah.
So even if you are choosing members on boards, we ensure that is taken care of. Even today, in our Anglican Church Nambale Diocese, you realize among the senior clergy, if you're an archdeacon like me, you're a senior clergy. We are 11 in this diocese, but there's a lot for the youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just a precept for the elderly.
No.
But I'm there as a youngest archdeacon, and I'm representing the interest of the youths. Even bishop, when he's ordaining, he ensures the youths are being ordained. And so any slot that comes in our school, in our church-founded schools, we ensure employment is youth-friendly. Okay. Same to hospitals and places where the church has influence. We ensure. So we open up the youth the job opportunities. Number 2, we organize seminars and trainings where we bring in expertise to train youths on matters of employment and wealth creation. We have our annual conferences and monthly youth meetings in parishes and in the diocese, and that is a focus that we take time to bring in people who can open up the youths to the world opportunities. Then, areas of advocacy as a church. You have seen the Catholic, the Anglican, and other organizations appeal to government that our young people should get proper jobs. Not just a job, but a job that befits the training you undertook. So you give space, a safe space for the youths. Then we try to equip the parents to nurture the children in a manner that they'll grow working with their own hands. They'll grow knowing that where you are seated, there's a lot of wealth. In this compound, if I was to cut these trees today, I sleep with the beat of thousands.
Yes.
And I can start from there. So the youths, we help them to understand that it's not just Nairobi, it's not just Kakamega. Rural development, and there is wealth in the rural. Where you sit, you are not paying a rent, you are not buying water, you are not doing all those things people in Nairobi do, and the little that you get, you can multiply to help you through that land. Land is the greatest wealth God gave us.
Yeah. For people who are professionals, how can they contribute to those initiatives that the church is doing?
How they can help the church to spearhead these initiatives.
Yes.
As professionals, we always tell them to remember the art of giving back to the community. So that God was writing to Israelites and was telling them that when you have eaten and are full, when that which you prayed for has been answered, that car, that good house, that job, remember the Lord your God and how far He has walked with you. And in remembering, there's no good way to remember than to looking at who is where you are and helping them come to where you are.
Yes.
And the beauty is, as they come to where you are, God is gracious to move you to another level.
Yes.
That's the only message I can tell those who are already employed professionals outside there. Kuitana. You see the story of the lepers?
Yes.
When they arrived and they found food and the army had ran away.
Yes.
Waliitana.
Yeah.
So when you find something somewhere, our Luya members of community, members of the public, ni kufanya nini? Uplift each other. Uplift. Now, and the young people, don't be specific in what you want to do. You could be a trained teacher. They'll call you to be an office messenger. Currently, if you don't have a job in your trained field of training, just take up that which you are being called to do. If you are told, come here, be an office messenger, be a typist here or a secretary, do this, you come and do, let it be your stepping stone. Let it be a stepping stone. When I was ordained a priest, the first assignment I was given by the bishop, I was sent to Nairobi to attend an environmental meeting. Now, I would ask myself, maybe I've been ordained to go and preach the gospel, to chase away demons. And I'm being sent for 1 week to learn about climate and environment. So don't be specific. Take up the roles that you see. Most of us are crying of unemployment because there is a specific thing we were trained in and we want that specific job. But before you will get there, I will assure you. God didn't allow you to go through those 4 years to be wasted. Even if today I'm not serving as a public health officer, I know that soon I'll get that job. It is on the way coming. But before I arrive there, I must be serving. Opportunities will find you serving. Opportunities will not find you in your bed, praying and fasting for that job to come. No.
Now, you've brought out another angle. Many young people nowadays have moved into, people are getting a different kind of spiritual, where they are now focusing only on praying and fasting, which is not a bad thing. But you as a priest, when you see young people spending the whole day in church praying, we have those people. People who only spend the whole day praying. How do you advise them? Or what is your
in this church here? In this church here, I will never put a youth meeting on a weekday. I never.
Okay.
Unless
that's a good starter.
The schools have closed. And we are targeting school-going children. The program is targeting school-going children. Then the schools are on holiday. That one we can. But on the normal days, January to March, we do youth meetings on Sunday afternoons, Saturday afternoons. There'll be, when you came on Saturday afternoon, there are a number of youths here, cleaning, washing, singing, planning. But Monday to Friday, go to school. If not the school, enda utafute kazi. Ufanye. So, prayer is our communication to God, with God. We tell God what we need, how we need, how we feel. After we have done that, then we be at the right place doing the right thing. Be serving somewhere. When you are serving, is when opportunities will come your way. People will ask you, oh, Arnold, I see you walking with a camera and whatever. What are you doing? Then you will reply, and that will be a golden opportunity for you to now move from this activity to another platform. But young people have two dangers: staying at home with a laptop watching or a TV doing movies. That one will not help you. It's not bad. Like here in Samia right now, there's a water challenge. If you have done your bachelor's degree in whatever field, you know that the school doesn't have water. The teachers here doesn't have water, or the community, even in this home, some of them don't have water. Why don't you offer yourself and be carrying 20 liters? You take to a family, you get 50 shillings. The water you're not buying is free. The problem, the only challenge is a number of us will not go to the river to fetch water and bring, or to the water point that the MCA or the governor did to fetch water and bring here. So you can go for us, we pay you. At the end of the day, you are getting clean money. That money you can buy chicken. Today is January. The small ones of 200 shillings, 300 shillings. If you reared those chickens for the next 6-7 months, each one will be translating into 1,000. If you did, or just stretched a bit into December, the chicken will be 1,800. The one that you bought at 200 is indeed that good money. If you invested 50 chicken, if you bought 50 chicken, you are selling at 1,500. Aren't you somebody who can now move and buy a plot? Kazi itakupata kama umefanya nini? Umeendelea. Umeendelea. Watu wengi wako hapa nje ambao walimaliza university 10 years ago. Hawajapata formal employment. Right now nikijiangalia ni kama is more than 10 years from university. I have not been employed by government. But life is moving on. Kazi inakuja tu hapa mbele itanipata. Tunaendelea. Tunaendelea.
Okay, and speaking of that, there is another issue that has been doing rounds. Talking about the church, you usually find that during the weekdays, the church halls, they are not used. Like, how can they be put to use for you as a professional? How can they be put to better use to make sure that the community is empowered, or rather they provide other benefits? Because most of our churches are usually only used during weekends or Sundays, and maybe once in a while during the weekdays. How can they be put to use, the church facilities?
I will say that maybe that is I would like to call it a misnomer or what, but the churches are in use every single day. Like here, we have what we call daily offices or daily prayers that you need to run a service in the morning, at least 40-30 minutes, and in the evening. And even in more kind of urban setting, we do lunch hour prayers. And so the church ought to be in use every single day. But now, coming specifically to your question, after we have run our daily offices, like maybe 7 to 8 or 6 to 7, then in the evening 5 p.m. and maybe to 6:30, in between, let's say between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., the church hall on some days may not be in use when you don't have meetings that last long. And so people have come, the community, the chief, the MCA, non-government organizations, USAID, Empathy, whatever, they come. They run eye clinics from here. They do meetings. Like we had an organization last week but one, which was giving scholarship to the school. So the week children's opened, we were giving scholarship to the school, and they asked, can we use a church hall to do this facility? I mean, this activity. We give them. Another one just recently again came. They were addressing issue of menstruation and the issues of pads and whatever among the ladies, and we gave them the church hall to do it. So they are clean activities that addresses issues of the mind, body, and soul, and environment. As I said in our pillars, we readily allow.
Yeah.
The only area where we are skeptical and we don't do as a church is to give the church hall for a political campaign.
Yeah.
But any other thing, health, agriculture, security, sensitization, capacity building, people come, they hire halls, the church halls, they use.
Yeah.
If they can give something small for the church, because you are using electricity, you are using our water, you find the church clean, will have to be washed. So we just put a small fee that, but you come and do. And also the ground, you have quite a field here.
Yeah.
You can even bring more than 2,000 people and they fit here. And you do a meeting if it is to empower the community.
Can you mention something about the ADS?
Anglican Development Services, Western, covers a number of things that I've already talked about.
Yeah.
But mainly they aim, and actually the entire Anglican Church aims at wholesome living.
Yes,
wholesome.
You mentioned that.
Yeah, holistic living. And so ADS addresses issues of health. They have healthy programs. We have dispensaries and health facilities within their church setting that ADS helps them to get drugs, get small sponsorship and donors from somewhere to support their program. That's the work of ADS Western. Issues of food security and agriculture. They normally give, the pembejeo, the inputs, farm inputs to Christians. Like now when we approach the rain season, they do research in areas of agriculture. Mimea gani inaweza fanya vizuri this area ya Samia. Then watatupatia kind of farm inputs. Try this millet here, try this maize there, try this program there. They normally give and they foster, they help this through the groups. They form farmers groups and they have a farmer school, which now they help that area to grow in that particular field, mumea that they are growing in that area. Then issues of environment and conservation. ADS leads in programs of environmental conservation. A number of times they'll even donate trees even to churches, numbering to 100, 200, 500 seedlings to just grow for free in that area. Then there are areas of education and advocacy. They will normally do a lot of programs in areas of education, giving scholarship to the children who are needy and vulnerable. They sponsor a few, help our schools to get the right number of teachers, and then economic empowerment of various groups in the church and in the community. And the good thing with ADS is that as much as we bear the word Anglican Development Service, but our services, they are for the community, not just Anglican. Even just here in Bunyala, no. Oh. Even the most of the staff are not members of Anglican. Yeah, they just give equal opportunities to people. When they advertise for a job, even when I apply, they will not consider me because I'm an Anglican clergy. No. They'll consider me based on my competence. How competent am I? How do I qualify in that field? So if I'm qualified, I take. If I'm not qualified, I'll be prayed for another opportunity to come. Then they champion issues of inclusivity and other areas. So that's what the church should live for. Because at the end of the day, when you get a job, you should get a job because you are competent. But if you get a job that you bribed for 200,000, which kind of testimony will you give? Will you say God did it while there was another hand behind God that did it?
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yes.
Okay, and let me ask you, as a young archdeacon, what are some of the challenges, the highs and the lows that you go through as a young archdeacon? Because most people, especially like doctors, most people will prefer to go to talk to an older doctor. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that you go through, especially when you have, let's say, like a couple of people who have lived together for over 50 years? they come to you and they have a challenge or some other challenge, maybe land or another issue. What are some of the challenges that you go through and as a young archdeacon, and how do you solve that?
Fortunately, areas of the church, eldership in the church begins with ordination. When you have been ordained, you become an elder.
So people don't just see this young man.
No. At least for the Anglican congregation that I serve,
Yes.
as soon as you've been ordained, people will call you Omuhulundu. To mean an elder. And even a mama of 120 years, say Muhulundu has come, they'll give you that respect and honor. And they don't struggle. And so they will quickly come to you with any challenge. As young as you are, you must give them a solution. People confide in you. However, there are few things now when you are now moving to the world. For example, recently I called a certain school. I told them I'm Venerable so and so. I'm requesting for this and this service on phone.
Yes.
Then the principal told me, you come and pick the thing. I've left with the deputy. So I drove there, parked in the field, I walked to the office. And they say, now the deputy asked me, where is the reverend? And I said, I'm the reverend.
You are the reverend.
No, I just laughed actually. I didn't answer. I just laughed off. And
Should we address him?
No.
Okay.
He said, you mean you are the reverend? Yes. Then and he told me, we are used to this old reverend. So there's a challenge that comes with young clergy.
Yeah.
Because unless you are properly vested, like now when I'm in Ochola, you will know, he's a reverend.
Yeah.
But when you just find me in a t-shirt the way you are, you have to appeal your case.
Yes.
That I'm
you have to prove a point.
You have to prove that I'm a vicar. Because I think for a long time the church ordained people who were aged. 40 years plus. But now with the coming ordination of people who have 21 years, 24 years, 26, now we pose a challenge. And then among the fellow youths, you have to prove yourself to be up to speed and upper in terms of reasoning and thinking. So that they just don't see you as one of us. Yes, they should see you as one of them in socialization.
You can relate, but
but in terms of authority, you must, I as an individual, make them know that I bear a higher calling and authority over them. And the current generation, unless you make them to see, they will not. The current generation does not even respect a president because you're a president.
No.
You are a president when you do the right thing. The thing that they resonate with. But anytime you step out, you cease being their bishop. You cease being their priest.
It is not just about the office.
The office, no.
It is about you as a person.
Bring out the aura and the responsibility of that office. They respect you. They'll come to you, Padri, Gen Z, Gota, they respect you. But if they realize that you don't have a good moral standing, a good intellectual ability, and spiritual ability, then you lose them. You lose them completely. So challenges may not really be there. Most of them are contextual. It happens in a particular context. You address it there, and you move on. But generally, people will not look at age, but morals, understanding, and ability to be a father to them. Once you are able to pass that exam, you not have any much challenge because of age.
Now speaking of the young people, we've had a number of young people trying to move away from the church with the with the influence of different cultures and all these things flowing around on the internet. How do you handle such as a young archdeacon who is a youth? I believe you are still within. You are still like you've been in that place too. I believe. How do you help the young people who are living the faith so that they can, keep the faith?
When you are talking, I just remembered of something in 2018. We were doing our thesis.
Yeah.
And one of us came up just with a topic that seemed peculiar. And he was doing a concept in online church planting. He developed a concept in online church planting. And all of us got interested. What is it that God was using this young man to do? And he developed a concept on how you can establish an online church, run an online church, operate, set up an online church and everything. So when we moved to 2019, the end of it, then COVID came.
Yeah.
This is how just God speaks.
Yeah.
And in the ways you may not understand. So when COVID came, every pastor, even those who didn't have smartphones,
They had to learn.
bought smartphones.
Yeah.
Because now the church was no longer this building. The church were the people, and you had to reach the people in the space where they are.
Yeah.
So everybody ran online. So the concept of online has been taken over now by almost every church, mega and small. So as a young archdeacon, understanding the youth dynamic. The youth are not running away from churches because they want to run, but it's because some of us leaders of the church are not ministering to the current needs of youths. If you remain with static traditional practices, worship practices, it will not help you reach out to these young people. But just like Jesus Christ, go to the space where people are. And that's where you'll find in the book of John, Jesus presenting himself in various forms. When he's saying, I'm the good shepherd, he spoke that sermon among the shepherds. When he's saying, I'm the vine, he spoke that statement among the farmers.
Yeah.
When he's talking of issues of Peter and fish and whatever, he was at the lake. So, can we go to where people are? That is not to say that you go to the evil spaces, like the bars and whatever.
No, yeah.
But I'm saying the young people currently, most of them, are on media. Can we make simple steps of making our churches to be media friendly? And so as a young archdeacon, I'm setting up a church, this one here. I've even made a budget for the same, to be equipped in terms of technology. These trees, by December when you come, we will have free Wi-Fi here. So that instead of youths just sitting at home and watching and doing whatever, they can come to sit in the church compound when they are available. And there, the church has paid them for free Wi-Fi. When I have 10, 20, 15 of them, at the end of 1 hour, 2 hours, I'll have a youth talk with them. Then dismiss them home. And they'll find a reason even, how am I helping them to meet their social challenges which they cannot be able to address to their parents? And normally I ask them, what is it that you can't tell your parent hata kama ameshika bunduki? Then the boys will tell you, siwezi ambia mzae nimenoki mtu bwana. So aje atanzaje? Sasa, but they can tell me as a pastor. They'll tell me, umrembo kuna venye. Then I give a safe and healthy space for youth mentorship in areas of dating, courtship, and marriage. So a church that is just heavenly bound and forgetting that before you die you are on earth here, you'll use these young people. So appeal to their psyche, to their mind, through the sermons I preach, through the programs I organize. I told them when they were here in December that when you come back in April, we are taking you to Chase Bay for a date. And everybody will be like, hata kama ni 2,000 tutalipa.
Yeah.
But if you tell them, come here for a one-day rally, you'll have like 50 youths. But if you tell them go to Chase Bay, you'll find more than 200 youths. But now where they are in Chase Bay, the core of why you are taking them there is to lead them to Christ. You find sessions that addresses the spirituality in the context of the environment that they feel, church iko sawa. But if you remain rigid with the traditional evangelistic activities of crusade or rather open air, kesha and whatever, without being creative, young people just sit at home. They even don't go to any other church. They sit at home.
Yeah. And as we finish, there is something here. I wanted to ask, how do you help those people who feel disconnected with religion?
It's also a new phenomenon.
There are people who are like, I just don't believe.
I've met them even in high school level.
And many people, back then we used to think there's something on TVs, there's something from the Western, influence. But right now you find even people within our communities, they're like, hey, how do you handle such?
It's an issue that needs divine intervention, because if somebody just chooses not to believe in God, is a dangerous thing. And as I told you, it's an emerging issue that even young people in JSS, in high school, occasionally you just meet a few who will walk to you and tell you, Pasi, story ya Mungu. And sometime when you give it analysis, there is a situation in their life, there's always a trigger. And one of the triggers that I've ever seen is when a young person lost the parent when he was a child, not even a young person, but a child. And the church came to bury the father without proper pastoral care to the children. And so this young man won't reconcile a pastor who put the father in a pit and the father never came back up to today, and he just told them that they will meet with the father some other time, but the father has not come. So for years the boy grew struggling with why did that the man of the church came, wakeka babangu kwa shimo na akaenda. And from that time when walieka baba kwa shimo, the life changed. I no longer go out, I no longer receive gifts, somebody has been beating my mother. So the boy just distanced himself with the issues of the church and religion, and in his heart believed there is no God. And you dare tell him about God, who took the father. And to add salt to the wound, the man of God came to put the father in the pit. This young man has never reconciled those things, and for him in his heart there is no God. So that is one area that I say there's some of them is because of a trigger, something that happened in the past that they have failed to heal from. And another issue is just the upcoming issues of the new age movements and whatever that just capture the mind of people, young people, and they just distance themselves from religion. And lastly, some is just a deliberate personal conviction that I will not distract myself in issues of religion. For me, my religion will be me. So it's an area that we need to engage with a lot of wisdom and knowledge, because these are people who don't come out. Mostly they don't come out openly, but they just live their own life, and they are hard. If there are people hard to deal with,
they are just committed to be good people, but issues of God, no, they are not in that.
So it's an emerging phenomena that in the future may put the church at a very at a crossroad, and we need to desire in our heart that when you get such cases, you deal with it specifically, you walk with them until they turn their heart to God. Yes.
Now, speaking of that, what is the most misunderstood teaching of the church?
Almost every teaching could be misunderstood based on which pulpit or area is coming from. The area of prosperity to me is a misunderstood thing. The area of prosperity, wealth issues is a misunderstood thing. And even as church leaders, you cannot go to a school where a child has not prepared well and you are declaring they'll pass with A's and they have never gotten these A's even from Form 1. So even though that is an area that is misunderstood even with the pastors, is a misunderstood area if you are not properly.
Child has never gotten an A from Form 1.
But you are declaring, commanding and declaring and decreeing. That one area of prosperity that today you can come to a church and somebody selling, you receive this money. And when you go out of the church, the truth is you have to work. You will not say, receive, I receive, then the money comes in your pocket.
That is very different coming from a priest, you know.
So that one, no. Then the area of suffering also has been misunderstood for a long time.
Yes.
People think that when you get born again, that ends your suffering. No. Suffering is part of Christian life, not human life. I'm deliberate when I'm saying suffering is part of Christian life. Even bishops, even apostles, there's some degree of suffering they go through. Every human being. It's an area where people think, sasa nimeokoka, shida za dunia zimeisha. Ziko. Kama utaki ambia Mungu kufe saa hii, uko mbinguni ndio hakuna. Hakuna hizo vitu. Then, the area of healing and deliverance. I think this one is also an area where even as pastors, even most pastors struggle if they don't have the grace of healing and deliverance. They feel like they are not fully born again. They are not fully baptized by the water and the Holy Spirit. But if you understand healing from a holistic point and deliverance from holistic point, then you will not struggle. People tend to believe that when you are walking in the power of receive your healing and somebody instantly gets healed, then is when you carry that grace. No. But even healing comes with counseling. There are problems that you just counsel people. There are areas that you just guide people and they come out of it. So those 4 areas to me are areas that first we as a church ourselves, pastors and church leaders, we have to re-examine them. Because if the areas bring a lot of confusion, prosperity, somebody looking for a visa, wealth, nyumba and whatever, and they think you will receive by pastor just commanding to receive.
Marriage.
Yeah, marriage, receive your spouse, and you think you can look around the congregation and get somebody. No. That's why that kind of receiving, marriages are breaking up. You just get someone, you are told receive, you received, you go, you never bonded, you don't understand each other. After 2-3 months, you break up. You have increasing number of single mothers and single parents in the congregation, and yet they wedded in church. Areas of suffering as a church we must examine. To what extent does the Bible talk about this? And so there's a lot of misunderstandings. I've just talked about superficial areas, but now if you go to deep areas like resurrection, like people who will, when Christ's second coming, and we are told and we believe that people who died in Christ will resurrect and will be seen walking. Those are now heavy area that I don't want to enter myself into right now. But every church should stick to the scripture, dig into the scripture, pray over the scripture, and speak that which God reveals to you. And if God does not reveal to you, kindly let the scripture speak for itself. Don't speak for scripture.
Okay.
Yeah.
At what age did you... And okay, first let's start with what inspired you to be a priest, and at what age? Because there is somebody who is sitting out there. Probably you said professionals can also come into priesthood, and there is somebody who is out there and they think like, no, I want to be like I want to be like Archdeacon. How did that come to be? What really made you to be to desire to be one, and how did it happen, and at what age?
One thing I believe that God called me himself to be his servant, and I have a number of episodes in my life before I came for ordination that speaks into it. I believe that God himself called me to be his servant through various encounters in life. When I was in standard 3, when you look at this neck here, ilikatwa through an operation, and I was sick for quite some months, not going to school. And one day, I remember sleeping on the bed at around 10 a.m. And I had a vision. And in this vision, a hand was giving me something to eat. And when I ate, I spit that thing out.
Yeah.
And when it was out, I remember the pain that was on this neck just got lost in the sleep. And I told God in the sleep that from this particular day, I will serve you. And behold, when I woke up, I was healed. And that was my healing.
Yeah.
And I went back to school. So I forgot about that thing.
At what class?
That was class 3. I forgot about that thing that I told God I'll serve you. Me, I continued in my life. However, in standard 6, the church elders, evangelists, began assigning me some duties. And some of the duties that I was being assigned was one, to stand in for the Sunday school teacher who is late.
Yeah.
I will teach my fellow Sunday school kids.
At class 6?
Yeah, I will teach them. After that, I'll be given lessons to take in church. I'll take readings. By around class 7, 8, I already had been assigned duties to preach, even in the main service. But it never came to my mind that I was going to be a priest. But then I had now begun developing children ministry and transiting into youth ministry. Now, my brother, my little young brother, was born a stammerer. I think I was in Form 2. And one day, I called him and told God, the spirit of the biblical Moses to come out of this child and let this child, Moses, speak. His name is Moses. Speak. And since then, this boy has never been a stammerer. The stammering ended.
Wow.
So on that account, I noticed that there are things when I was saying jokingly or seriously, God was doing them. There are times I'll utter some statements and tell God, this thing is not happening. And it will not happen. And I've not even prayed about it. But it has not happened. So until a few years to ordination, 2014 now, before I decided to go to theological school in 2016, God told me, Noel, don't you remember who you are? Speak to the child. That was a vision. There was a child who was sick. And I had prayed over that child to be healed.
Yeah.
And some days had passed, the child was not getting healed. And God told me in a vision, Noel, don't you know who you are? You are a prophet. And when I woke up, I spoke in the life of that child. And that child got healed. From that day, we were in a hospital, admitted. But from that particular day, in that morning when the child was reviewed, was getting better in the evening, was released and slept at home. Then I realized, God has been doing something. I've just run through a few instances, but there are quite a number in the university and whatever. And I believe God called me before I was born, and he prepared me for very many years. I would have even gone to be a pastor after Form 4.
Yeah.
But because I knew, and I was even telling my brother, my friends, that I'm going to work with the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a big man in matters of health. I'd even planned to do masters of public health, to do a PhD, do whatever.
Yeah.
But God cut those things short after a university.
Yeah.
And I found myself training in theology and came back for ordination and whatever. So God has been leading and ordering my step to this end.
Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yes.
Just any other information that you'd like to share?
No, nothing. I thank God. The year is just beginning. Young people, let us put our focus on God.
Yeah.
Let us not go into the philosophies of the world that January is a hard month, that this year is going to be a bad year.
Yeah.
No, the year is God's year, and is a year of blessing. Let's march into it victorious and cast our burdens unto God, and He will answer our cries. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you had to squeeze this out of your busy schedule.
Yes.
But thank you so much. We really appreciate for your sacrifice.
Thank you so much also for considering me.
God bless you.
Having me, God bless you.
Asante sana.
Welcome to the Step Out Summit, where we dive into the depths of struggle and scale the heights of triumph. Meet your everyday heroes who are stepping out, standing tall, and making an impact. I'm your host, Ochola. At the SOS, we make it happen.